There are many instances within Christianity and within Islam where mystical traditions, and not necessarily mystical traditions, have accepted reincarnation as part of their fundamental belief, but it has been removed from that tradition.
I think you could compare Jannah or other ideas of heaven where they talk about a lot of pleasure. You can compare that to the subterranean heavenly planets in the Bhagavatam and say that this is a subset of the larger picture. So that, I wouldn't say that's contradictory, but some claims like one life versus reincarnation, where there's like, this is the only life. It doesn't feel like a subset of that. That means that they are actually incorrect.
But I think we have to understand that these different religions were spoken in a time, place, and circumstance. There are many instances within Christianity and within Islam where mystical traditions, and not necessarily mystical traditions, have accepted reincarnation as part of their fundamental belief, but it has been removed from that tradition. There are historical accounts that you can go back to early enough in those traditions which refer to that. And in the Islamic tradition, for example, the Sufi tradition, Rumi speaks about, I was a mineral and became a plant, I became a plant and became an animal, became an animal, became a human. When was I ever less by death? Right, through the process of death, when did I? So there are mystical traditions which do make reference to other lives. Contemporary Islam, from my understanding, does not believe in reincarnation. I think it has a particular purpose, focus on this life, because, as we know from the Vedic tradition, the downside of believing in future lives is that, well, it will happen tomorrow. I don't need to deal with it this life. So, there are pros and cons, but I'm just saying that these points don't necessarily point to something which is technically mutually exclusive. I think they can be explained by context and the purpose for which the teachers of that tradition were trying to draw out. And I think you have to take into account the full breadth of that tradition in history, which then points to things like principles like vegetarianism, which has almost completely been abandoned in most traditions, but which very clearly exists in the original text of those traditions, but has been abandoned. So that's not a contradiction, it just means it's changed over time.